Hi everyone, and welcome to EDN 113, Living and Learning with Technology. Today we're going to focus on assignment task 2B, the preparation for our web quest. Now assignment part, task 2, part B, is a web quest and it is due on the 14th of April at midnight. What is expected of you before you submit part B? First, you need to download your marking key and use it as a reference or a checklist to make sure that you do have all the criteria covered in your web quest. Secondly, you need to create a group web quest using Google Sites. And lastly, each student needs to submit a copy of the marking guide. Please note that you need to use the following format for your file name: 2020 EDN113 task 2B, no spaces in between, underscore your last name dot initial underscore ID. I do have a few students in my classes that's got the same last name, so it would be preferable if you do put your initials in there as well, but only initial. Looking at the marking key or the marking guide, you'll find that there's 3 sections to it. The first section is where you will upload your web quest's URL, your student name and student number, and this section will be used to mark your project plan. And then the next part is the web quest, the group wiki. This is where you will be evaluated or assessed on your whole web quest, all the group pages. And then the last section is where you will be assessed on your individual pages. So there's 3 sections. Section A and section B, part 1, will be group marks, whereas this part is an individual mark. So assignment 2, part B, web quest submission. It is important to remember that each student must upload the marking key for themselves, and there's the format that you need to use. The URL of the web quest must be working. If it's not working, I can't mark it. Your name and student number must be on it, and it must be submitted before the 14th of April at midnight. Now, you have had the opportunity during the course of this week to look at different web quests made by other students and to web quests made by individuals outside of our university. And so you've got an idea of what a web quest is all about. Now, for this assignment, I've compiled a example web quest, and please, this is only an example. All the areas is not populated as thoroughly or as well as you are expected to do it. This is basically just a framework. It is not a complete site. Some of the pages are still under construction, and they will be for the foreseeable future because this is only an example. To show you how to do how to actually set up your web quest, you can go to a drop-down menu to create your different pages or to add pages. You also can have a menu at the top of your screen. I prefer drop-down menu for this one, but it's up to you. On your first page, this is your home page. From here, your web quest will start. So what should the layout of the web quest be? Okay, if you look at one of the slides on the workshop had the scaffolding for web quests on it, and we are going to use that scaffolding when we create our web quest. Okay, so you have your introduction page, your task, your process, your evaluation, your conclusion, and your credits, and your about us. Those are all group pages. And then under the about us, you need to have sub-pages for each student, an about me page and a connect with meaningful learning page. These 2 pages are then individual pages for each student, and this is what each student need to populate their pages with. On the About Me page, you need to tell us a little bit about yourself, your background, your teaching background. Give us a little bit of a philosophy on how teaching and learning should occur according to you. And then you need, for your individual page, you also need to make a connection between meaningful learning and how the project as a whole addresses the characteristics of meaningful learning, and B, how the technology used in the end product, how would that address meaningful learning. Remember those 5 elements, and you need to address all 5 elements within this section. And this is your own opinion about how the project as a whole identifies or addresses, and how the technology you used in your view addresses. And each student's will be different. Okay, so for the introduction page, you need to provide us with a short introduction on what the purpose of the site is. You also need to include the content descriptor, and as well as the content and elaborations. All the group pages need to be collaborated on by the whole group, although one person might be in charge of or creating the page. The whole group need to contribute to it. Okay, so on your group page, the task page, you'll have to write up a brief paragraph on what they will learn, what they will have to do, and what resources do the students need to complete their end task. On the process page, you have a step-by-step instruction. So in step 1, this and this and this is what they need to do. In step 2, this and this and this is what they need to do. There's the resources for each task is included, as well as what they need to do for each task. It could be little activities in each task, and these activities and these information that they're gathering and learning that's occurring needs to lead up to the end product. And in the end product, you need to also supply them with the information that they need, or the applications that they need to complete their end product. Then you have an example of your end product for each of the members of the group, and then any additional or supporting resources that the students may use if they need more information on the topic than the ones you've just given. So this is for further learning, or if it piques their interest, to extend themselves. Then on your evaluation page, you need to provide a rubric, and this rubric, you need to use it on your own end product to see if your own end product adhere to the criteria set by the rubric. And on your conclusion page, you need to write up a conclusion on what the students would have to learn during the course of this project. So during the course of the project, the students had to learn the importance of copyright protection and so forth. Then your group, the credits page, you need to give all your credits. You also need to give credit to the people that created some of your end products, and you have to give reference to the resources used throughout your web quest. And then lastly, if you embed your YouTube clips as a resource within your process page, then you do not need to reference them. However, if you are only providing hyperlinks on your process page, then you need to reference those YouTube clips in this area. The last thing that you also need to include on your credit page is attribution to the images that you've used on your site. if you paid attribution to each image individually underneath the image as they appear on your site, then you can have a disclaimer stating that all images used on this site was obtained from Pixabay, or you can say all images used on this site was obtained from the Google site images library. Those are the type of global statements you can make if you paid contribution and to each image by putting their attributions at the bottom of each image individually. Then you are allowed to make a global statement. Otherwise, you have to provide us with individual references to each picture or image. So the last group page is the About Us page. And you can see that I've got images of all the people that's involved in the group. I've got their names, and I want you to give us a short introduction as to why you as a group decided to make this wiki. From here, you will then move on to the individual pages. So your first individual page would be your About Me page. You will write a small introduction about yourself, include a little bit of information, not personal details, as this is a professional page, your studies, teaching experience you might have, and as well as your beliefs on teaching and learning. And then the next individual page is your connection to meaningful learning, where you will find that you need to write, in your view, how did the project address the characteristics of meaningful learning? You'll see I've got all 5 there, and how the technology used and the end product created address the meaningful learning. And then lastly, please include your end product here, because this will all be evaluated together on the last section of your rubric. And that is the end. If you have any questions, please contact your tutor, and they will provide you with more answers.